So there are a couple of exercises that I really like to run my patients through, whether they have Osgood or Severs. I think all three of these exercises are really beneficial for that young, active kid who's trying to maintain as much activity in sport as possible. So for Severs, it's quite important that we build the tolerance and strength through the calf because that directly attaches to the Achilles. For Osgood Schlatters, it's really important we improve the strength through the quad because that's where the patella tendon attaches. And then finally, it's really good to make sure that we're teaching the child how to jump and land and maintain the positioning so we're not loading the tendon beyond its capacity. So what this generally means is I commonly see kids in here when they're jumping and landing and they're quite young and maybe they've never been taught how to do these particular movements, that they have a very, very knee dominant and ankle dominant jumping and landing pattern. Now this in itself isn't a bad thing, but if you've got a really sore Achilles and a really sore knee, you want to try and utilize that hip movement and hip strength as much as possible to take some of the tension and load away from the knee and the Achilles so it doesn't get so sore. Now, we'll go into the strength exercises first. The strength exercise I really like for the quad is a single-legged sit to stand. So it takes a bit of balance and coordination, standing on one leg, keeping your heel flat on the ground, pushing your bum back to sit on the chair nice and slow and controlled, and then stand up nice and strong. Now, I'd want any person, whether or not they're a 10-year-old with Osgood Schlatters or Severs, or a fit 40-year-old, to be able to do at least 15 of these. So if you can't do that, you can pop your leg on the ground and make it a little bit easier, but we really want to push your hips back and then go down nice and slow, and then stand up nice and strong. Get a really nice band through those quads, and we're going to use those hips nice and well. Second one is a calf raise. So popping up using a wall or something for balance, we go up onto our toes, and then we go down nice and slow. We want to aim for at least 20, because if you can do 20 on 2 feet, you should be able to do a good set of 10 on a single leg. We eventually want someone to be able to do sets of 20 with a little bit of extra weight on a single leg, and even preferably on a step to add the difficulty. So starting off with 2-legged calf raises, once they're able to do that, progressing to a single-legged calf raise. That gets the calf nice and strong, and making sure that we're improving the capacity through the Achilles tendon and helping with symptoms and performance. The last one is looking at some jumping and landing, and these is where the exercises actually start to become quite a lot of fun, and you can integrate them into a sporting environment. You can use it as a warm-up, a cool-down, or even a training session. Now, I'm going to show you some real simple ones, but these things should really be administered by a health professional because they do put a little bit more load through a tendon, and if you push it a little bit too hard, it can make these tendons a little bit more irritable and a little bit more painful. But the landing pattern that I commonly see is kids who have a really sore knee or a really sore Achilles, when they jump and land, they're keeping their torso up and down and they're bending quite a lot through their knees and their ankles, which isn't a bad thing, but if this area here is already sore or here's already sore and you're putting it under this load repeatedly over and over again, it can get even worse. So what we want to teach them is we want to teach them to land using their hips, right? Now we don't want them landing like this, because then they're going to have the opposite problem. They're not going to use their legs and they're just going to be bending through their hips, and you can't play a sport with your head down here. So we want to really teach them this really happy middle ground where you're bending through your knees a little bit, but really using the powerhouses of your lower body, which are your glutes. So even just practicing jumping and landing and getting them to go from here to here, right? Now, this is a fairly tricky thing to teach kids, and it takes a real long time of practice, and this is where working with a physio can really help you. So please give these exercises a go, the foam rolling that I did in the previous video, and the strength exercises to get your calf, your quad nice and strong, and have a watch of how your kids jump and land. If you need any help, please reach out.